Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I am going to teach you guys everything you need to know about equipments. We'll be talking about what equipments do, when you should buy certain equipments, how to counter certain equipments with other equipments, and much more in this video. So if you are new to MOBA or if you are new to Honor of Kings itself, this video will surely be useful for you because we will be going over a lot of things, and as you all know, equipments play a major role in any MOBA. So without any delay, let's get right into the video. Now, we all know that there are 5 roles in the game, right? But there are 3 types of damage: physical damage, magical damage, and true damage. The reason why this is important is because the equipments in the game are designed in order to improve or counter these types of damages. So put it simple, mages or the heroes that are in the middle lane like these ones, they deal magical damage primarily. Then farm laners, these are the marksmen of the game, they primarily deal physical damage with one exception, and that is Erin. She is a marksman who can deal magical damage. Also, most of the junglers in the game, most of the clash laners in the game, they all deal physical damage. And there are some heroes that can deal true damage. We'll get into that later. But for now, just know that mid laners are the magical damage dealers, and primarily every other role will be dealing physical damage with exception to a few heroes. Now pay attention carefully, these are all the 20 different buffs and debuffs that an equipment can provide you. Okay, so physical attack, magical attack, physical defense, magical defense, physical pierce, magical pierce, physical lifesteal, magical lifesteal, anti-heal, max health, max mana, health every 5 seconds, mana every 5 seconds, critical damage, critical rate, movement speed reduction, cooldown reduction, and hunting knife and knowledge gem or miscellaneous. Now that might sound like a lot of words, but the basic thing is, if there is physical attack, there will be physical defense. If there is magical attack, there will be magical defense. If there is physical defense, you will have physical pierce to pierce through the physical defense and attack the enemy. Likewise, if there is magical defense, you have magical pierce to pierce through the defense and attack the enemy with magical damage. So the game revolves around these two, physical damage and magical damage. Equipments that boost physical damage, equipments that counter physical damage, equipments that boost magical damage, and equipments that counter magical damage. And these are the primary ones. So this is the most important thing that you need to know about equipments, and all the other things such as anti-heal, physical lifesteal, magical lifesteal, critical rate, critical damage, all these come around this primary one. So yeah, now let me show you guys some equipments, and you will get a better idea of what I am talking about. Okay, so here we are at the in-game equipment store, and as you can see, there is physical, magical, defense, movement, and jungling. Right now we are only going to focus on physical, magical, and defense. Okay, so if you click on any of the equipments that are in the physical section, you will see that they provide physical attack, primarily because they are physical equipments. They also provide critical rate, attack speed, and other smaller things. But now the most important thing you are going to note is physical damage. So Axe of Torment grants you 85 physical attack, and then there are other equipments like Siege Breaker that grant you 180 physical attack, which is a lot of damage. Now when you go to the defense section, you will find out that there are equipments that directly counter physical attack. So if you go to the defense section, you have all these equipments, right? Dawn Light, Blazing Cape, Ominous Premonition, they have one thing in common, and they offer you defense. So exactly as I said, look at that, 240 physical defense, and other smaller things such as cooldown reduction, 150 health every 5 seconds, and stuff like that. If you check Glacial Buckler, again 360 physical defense, so that's a lot of physical defense. And like I said at the start itself, what does physical defense do? It helps you negate physical damage. So if an enemy has a lot of physical damage, if you build this equipment, when they attack you, you won't take that much damage. Now going on to the magical section, you will find out that all these equipments have one thing in common, and that is they all increase your magical attack. Look at that, 140 magical attack, 240 magical attack, 240 magical attack. And how to counter these? Again going back to the defense. To counter magical damage you need magical defense. So let us find out which equipment provides magical defense. Succubus cloak, look at that, negates magical damage. It clearly says there itself. And if you see on the top right, 200 magical defense and then 100 max health and other smaller stuff. So the primary ones are always going to be the magical defense, physical attack, magical attack. Okay, so there is another equipment that can counter magic damage, and that is long night guardian. So there are only two equipments that effectively counter magic damage, and the reason for that is only one role deals primary magic damage, that is the mid lane, but all the other four roles will be dealing physical damage. That is why there is a lack of physical magical defense, and there is more physical defense. Makes sense, right? So if you look at all these items, they all primarily provide physical defense only. Physical defense, this is an attack item. Physical defense and magical defense, physical defense. So yeah, primarily all the defense equipments will give physical damage to negate physical defense to negate the physical damage. Now that we have talked about physical attack, magical attack and their defenses, let us look at some of the common builds that are built for different heroes in a same lane. So if you look at Clash lane, these are all going to be primarily warriors, fighters and tanks. So let us start with Alain. If you check out Alain's build, what do you see? You see physical attack, right? This equipment provides physical attack. We also see physical defense, and we also see magical defense. So warriors are a hybrid between tanks and assassins, so they have some damage and they are a little bit tanky. So they are the combination of an assassin and a tank. So this is how their build will look. They will have some attack items, they'll have some magical defense item, they'll also have some physical defense, because they jump right into the fight and they take a lot of damage from both the types. Mages will be attacking them, marksmen will be attacking them, so they need both, right? Not just Alain. If you look at any Clash laner, let us look at Arthur. Again, he has one attack item, Frost Scar Embrace, 40 physical attack, right? This is the attack item, Axe of Torment, and then this is a defensive item, Frost Scars Embrace, physical defense. And then we have Long Night Guardian, which is magical defense. So since he is a warrior, he is built one attack, one magical defense, two physical defense, and then you can go for another attack or you can go for another magical defense. That depends on the matchup. So that is known. Now check out mages. We all know what to expect from mages, and yeah, exactly, all five of their equipments other than the boot are going to be magical attack and magical pierce, cooldown reduction, but primarily magic related. Okay, they are going to be magic damage dealing. And then likewise, if you look at the farm laners, their equipments will be fully focused on dealing as much damage as possible. So physical attack, physical attack, physical attack, physical attack. So you can see the pattern here, right? Marksman build full physical attack, mage build full magical attack, warriors build some attack, some defense, and then finally supports or tanks, let us say, they go for full defense. So magical defense, this is an attack item because this mage can deal magical damage as well. Defense, physical defense and magical defense. And there are other examples where let me show you. So this is Kui, and in his build you cannot find any magical attack. It's going to be full, okay, physical defense, magical defense and physical defense again. So this is a pure tank. So now you guys have an idea of how the opponents are built. Now let me teach you how to counter. So now that I've talked about physical attack, magical attack and physical and magical defense, you might be wondering, okay, so I am a marksman player and the enemy mage keeps killing me. So they are dealing magical damage. So should I buy magical defense? The answer is yes and no. Let me explain. So if you are in the late game, if you are about 10 minutes into the game and the enemy mage is constantly killing you, you can decide to buy one magical defense. Go for the Succumbus Cloak or the Long Night Guardian. Don't go for both, because what is your role? You are a marksman. What is the purpose of a marksman in the game? They have to deal damage. They are not supposed to stay alive, or they are not supposed to tank a lot of damage, but instead your job is to deal damage. But if the enemy mage is playing so aggressive, like you are always dying, you can't even do anything in the fight, there is no nothing wrong with going for one magical defense. Okay, not more than one. Just stop with one magical defense and you will find yourself okay-ish. When the enemy mage attacks you, you won't instantly die and you will have a much better chance of killing that mage. Likewise, let us talk about the mid laner. So you are a mage now and you are always dying to the enemy marksman. So they have a very long range. You try to go close to them, but they shoot you down before that. And what should I do now? Should I buy physical defense? Because marksmen deal physical damage, right? So should I buy physical defense? Again, yes and no. You are a mage. Your job is to deal magical damage. Your job is to stun the enemies. But if you buy all physical defense items, you won't deal any damage at all. So you can buy one physical defense. Stop there itself. Buy one physical defense so that you will have a better chance of surviving. But you should remember that your main role is to deal damage. So you have to buy 5 magic damage items and one physical defense, because that enemy marksman is killing you. Okay, so this is how you counter. You don't necessarily build all tank, all physical defense as a mage to counter a marksman. No, you buy 5 magical damage and 1 physical defense if you find the enemy marksman troubling. The same can be said about assassins. So if the enemy assassin just keeps killing you, and if it's a physical damage dealing assassin, you have to buy 1 physical defense as a marksman or a mage, and you will find yourselves in a much better position, and the enemy assassin will find it really hard to kill you. And likewise, if it's a magic damage dealing assassin such as Luna or Sima E, you have to build 1 magic defense. Okay, so that is how you counter enemies by switching one equipment but not compromising your entire role and its purpose. Okay, now that we have all the primary and important stuff done, let us talk about the secondary buffs and debuffs that equipments can give you. First, let us talk about lifesteal. So right now, when I attack this puppet, I don't really have any lifesteal and my health is not going up at all. But there are equipments in the game that can help you achieve it. So if you go into the shop, into the physical section, you go down, you will find that there is an equipment called Blood Weeper. So it says right there physical lifesteal. And what does it say? Recovers, it gives you 25 physical lifesteal, first of all, 25%, and recovers 40 to 610 health within 5 seconds when one's own health drops below 30%. So overall, this equipment is like, it will heal you a lot, and that is the purpose of this equipment. So let us see if it actually works. Now let me buy that equipment. Okay, see, now I have that equipment, and if I attack now, look at that, I heal 83 HP on every single one of my primary auto attacks. So I lose some more health, and if I attack, for each attack I heal 83. How to increase the number from 83? Let's take a look at the equipment again. 25% physical lifesteal, which means that the more damage I deal, the more I heal. So let us complete the build. Let us add some more physical attack. Let's get the siege breaker because it gives 180 physical attack. Now let us check the lifesteal. 118. Can you see the difference? So this is how you increase the lifesteal of your hero. Get this item, it will give you a 25% physical lifesteal, and then if you increase the damage by getting all the other items, that increase damage. I'm just giving you example, don't follow this build obviously. So if I attack now, 197, I didn't change anything, I only added a few equipments and the lifesteal has increased. So that is how physical lifesteal work, and you will find this equipment to be a very common choice by marksmen, because in the late game when they are constantly attacking, they'll be healing a lot. Like, look at how much healing this is. I can almost even out heal the damage of a tower. Like, look at how much I'm surviving. Obviously the tower deals more damage the more it shoots, so that's not really possible. But as you can see, we have a lot of lifesteal now that we have this equipment. If I sell this equipment, I'll show you what happens. Let's take some damage. Okay, we are back to square one. We barely have any lifesteal, and we don't really have any. As you can see, we have lost that power of life stealing. So that is a very important item for any marksman player. Keep this in mind. This equipment can provide a lot of lifesteal, so if you have it, you will be healing for a lot. 515 per hit. That is just insane. Alright, so now that we are done with physical lifesteal, let us switch to magical lifesteal. Alright, so here we are once again, but with a mage, and let us use our ability on this puppet. Let us see if we have any magical lifesteal. No, right? But there is an equipment that can help you with it. Go to the magical section, insatiable tome, as it clearly says there, magical lifesteal. So if you buy this equipment, you will heal when you deal magical damage. Watch this, 35 every tick. So it's not that much, and the reason for that is, just like the physical damage, we need magical damage. We need more magical damage in order to heal more. So let us increase our magical damage. Okay, now that we have all 6 equipments, we will be dealing a lot more magical damage, so we will be having a lot more healing as well. So let us see, almost 3 times the healing that we had before. Look at that. So if you just do the combo, the healing is just insane, right? So let us just do it once again. You take a lot of hitting, and an enemy is coming to kill you, so you just do the basic combo of Angela, and you are back to 60% HP, just like that. So that is why this equipment is really powerful. Just like the Blood Weeper for physical damage, we have Insatiable Tome for magical damage. Now this is like a very powerful thing, having this much lifesteal, which it can provide deadly for the opponents. They will find it so hard to kill you. That is why there is a counter. So not just heroes that buy these physical lifesteal and magical lifesteal equipments, there are other heroes in the game that have the innate ability to heal. There are heroes that have a lifesteal in their kit itself. They don't need an extra equipment to get the lifesteal, but their own kit provides them lifesteal. For example, in mid lane we have Dio-chan. So if you look at her passive, you will see that the second line, at the max of 4 stacks, the marks will be activated, healing her for 120 health. This is also, even if it's not lifesteal, it's a healing ability, which means this hero also falls under the category of fighting for a very long time, keeps healing up, and does not die. Okay, so to counter heroes like this, and also to counter Blood Weeper and Insatiable Tome, we have an equipment. Let me show you. If you go into physical, you go down, Mortal Punisher. Look at this equipment. What does it say below it? Lowers HP regen. If you look at the passive Imperil, when a basic attack or skill hits an enemy, it reduces their health, recovery and lifesteal by 35%. So, if you find it annoying, if you find that an enemy hero heals a lot, they have the insatiable tome or the blood weeper and they are just not dying at all, if you are a marksman or an assassin, this is the equipment that you need to counter that enemy. This is in the physical tab, right? So as a mage, you should not buy this equipment. This is for physical damage dealing heroes, because as you can see, not just anti-heal, this provides you some physical attack, some attack speed, and provides you some physical lifesteal as well by itself. Even though it counters lifesteal, it also provides some lifesteal. So this is a physical equipment to counter healing. Now if you go to magical section, venomous stuff lowers HP regen. So this is for mages and magical damage dealing heroes. So just like the one before, mortal punisher, which is for physical damage, we have venomous stuff for magical damage. And as it says there, when a basic attack or skill hits an enemy, it reduces their health, recovery and lifesteal by 35%. So it's exactly the same thing as mortal punisher. The only difference is this provides magical attack and that provides physical attack. Okay, so keep these two equipments in mind whenever you see an enemy Dio-chan. She's just coming in, doing 1v5 and kills everyone. That is because she is healing a lot. So if you counter her healing with these equipments, she will not be able to heal. Now keep in mind that if you buy both venomous stuff and mortal punisher, doesn't mean you get 70% anti-heal. It doesn't stack, so you just need one of those two. Okay, so yeah, that is all about physical lifesteal, magical lifesteal and anti-heal. Now let us talk about critical rate, critical damage and critical hit. So this is primarily for marksmen, and there are some warriors and assassins that also benefit from it, such as Alain and Wukong. But now I am just going to take Alicia as an example. So if you attack an enemy with marksman, and you see that red color numbers pop up, right, whenever the bullet hits them, that is the damage that I am dealing to that enemy. So 237 every hit. But if it's a critical hit, I will deal approximately twice the damage. So let us build some equipments that give critical rate. So look at this one, Shadow Ripper gives me 25% critical rate. So I'm going to get it. Now if I shoot him, if okay, that is a critical hit. You see the red numbers pop up, 441, right? So instead of dealing the normal damage, that is 264, I am dealing a critical hit which deals 441 damage. So that is what critical rate does to you. So the more critical rate you have, let us increase it. So this one gives you 20% critical rate, and this one gives you another 10%. This one gives you another 10%. Do you have anything else? Yeah, this one gives another 10%. So let's get the gold and get the equipment. So now our critical rate is really high. So to check how much you actually have, you have to go here. Right now my critical rate is 83%, which means 8 out of 10 of my shots will be a crit. So look at that, 1500 per hit, because we have a lot more physical damage as well. And now almost every single one of my attack is a critical hit. So marksmen rely greatly on critical hit for their damage. So if they are shooting normally, it won't be that much damage, but if it's a critical hit, it will deal a lot more damage. So that is why this is important. Now there is another stat for called critical damage, and only one equipment can give it, and that is the Eternity Blade. So this equipment increases the critical damage by 1% for every 2% of critical rate that you have. Don't bother about it, right? This equipment is mandatory for marksman, that's all. Don't bother too much about it. It will increase the critical damage that you deal. That is all you need to know. Don't think too much about it. Okay, so that is all you need to know about critical rate and critical damage. Coming to a very important topic, that is cooldown reduction. So this is very important for mages and pretty much every other role. Initially when I downloaded the game, I thought the cooldown reduction is for when I die. If I have higher cooldown reduction, I will spawn much faster. Hopefully none of you are like me. But cooldown reduction, basically what it does is, if I use an ability, let me turn off the cooldown, and if I use the ability, you can see that I have 35 seconds until I get the ability back, right? So I have to wait around another 35 seconds. If I use the first ability, the cooldown is 5 seconds. If I use second ability, the cooldown is 10 seconds. But right now my cooldown reduction is at 6%. You can see it right there, right? 6% cooldown reduction, and that is from the arcana that I have. So I don't have any equipments on right now, but there are equipments that can give you cooldown reduction. Let us check. So first of all, the most important one is the boot of tranquility, speeds up CD skill. As you can see on top, 15% cooldown reduction. So if I get this shoe, if I use my ultimate now, instead of 37 seconds or 38 seconds, I had only 32 seconds. So that 15% cooldown reduction can be clearly seen. Now let us increase it even more. Usually any magic equipment will have cooldown reduction as well. So this one gives 5%, let us get it. This one gives 10%, let us get it. This one gives another 10%, let us get it. Okay, now we have a significant amount. If I use alt now, it's 24 instead of 38. It's 24. Look at how powerful cooldown reduction is, and there is no counter to cooldown reduction. Don't worry, there is no other equipment that will increase the cooldown of your abilities. So there is some other thing that you need to understand, and that is, right now if you check our cooldown reduction, it is at 40%, right? It is at 40%. 40% is the maximum amount of cooldown reduction a hero can have. So even if I buy 6 equipments that give me cooldown reduction, so let us get it. So this one gives me 10 cooldown reduction as well, and then so total, let us see, 15 from the shoe, 5 from the mask of agony, so 20, 30, 40, 50%. I am supposed to have 50% cooldown, right? But if you check my stat, it's still at 40% only. So 40% is the maximum amount of cooldown reduction a hero can have. Okay, so cooldown reduction is very important, especially for mages. And if you look at any of the standard build, so these are all the popular build for this hero, right? So everything will have the cooldown reduction. See, cooldown reduction, some magical damage, cooldown reduction. Exactly. So mages and magical equipments basically give you cooldown reduction as well. So that is something that you need to know. So that is all about cooldown reduction. At the start of the video, I told you guys about physical PS and magical PS and how it allows your physical damage to penetrate through the physical defense of an enemy and deal damage to them. A little bit more on that topic. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but you should know that the tanks, like Zhang Fei or any tank, look at their equipment. It's all full defense, right? Physical defense, magical defense, physical defense, physical defense. So heroes like this, and there are other warriors such as Arthur, who also go for majority of a tankier build. So in order to deal damage to these heroes, we have these equipments called physical PS. So Starbreaker anti-tank physical PS 40%. So it will allow you to penetrate through the armor of Arthur or any tank for that matter and deal additional 40% damage to them. So that is basically what physical PS is. Just like physical PS, we have magical PS, and that is let me show you here, anti-tank void stuff. So this one, if an enemy has too much physical defense with long night guardian or succumbus cloak, if you have this void stuff, you will still penetrate through their defenses and deal quite some damage to them. So that is something you should know about physical PS and magical PS. Now, before we get into the last and final part of the video, I just want to let you know that if you've been watching until now and if you find this video helpful, please make sure to hit the subscribe button, because if I get to 10,000 subscribers, which is not far away, if you guys can help me out here, please do. And if I get to 10,000 subscribers, I will be eligible for another tier in HoK's content creator list, and that will be of a lot of help to me. So yeah, if you are liking this content and if you are finding this helpful, please hit the subscribe button. It is basically free and you can cancel it anytime you want. Now let us talk about the last and not that important stuff when it comes to equipment. The first is movement speed. So if you go into the stats like as usual, and if you check here, it will show you the movement speed of your hero. So 504 right now for me, and the maximum movement speed that you can get is 800, by the way. I don't know how this is going to be of any use to you, but that is a fact. And then there is mana per every 5 second, HP per every 5 second from equipment such as this one, Overlord's Plate Mail. It will automatically heal you when you are out of a fight. So let me just go take some damage from the tower. I'll show you how it works. So if I am out of the fight, after taking damage, after 5 seconds it activates. Okay, so since Align hit me, just wait for 5 seconds, and once it activates, so I'll be getting HP back now. Okay, I don't have the equipment, my bad. Okay, now if I buy this equipment, look at that. If I am, as long as I'm not fighting, I'll be gaining 83 HP every 1 second. So that is how this equipment is used. And there are other equipments such as this, which will automatically give you healing. So like Dawnlight, as you can see, 150 health every 5 seconds. So these are equipments that passively heal you. So that is something you should know. And then there are equipments that passively increase your mana in magical. If you go and check out the Holy Grail, so it gives you 1.5% max mana per second, right? That is a passive. And there are other equipments like that that will give you some mana every 5 seconds. So all these are smaller things, you don't really need to pay attention to all this, but it's just good to know everything, I guess. So yeah, that is all you need to know about equipments, guys. If you still have any doubts, if you want like a specific counter, like you find one hero very aggressive and you find him difficult to deal with, let me know in the comments and I'll tell you what equipment you need to counter that hero in your build. I will be glad to help you out. And yeah, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you all found this video entertaining and helpful, and if you did, make sure to support me by hitting the like and subscribe button. I hope you all have a really great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.